Diane, this is Dr. Jester. A few things I wanted to go over with you about your paper. The first problem we have is this right here. This is the Lopes-Wright report. And if you look over this top line, these are the items that it gives me for percentages. This right here tells me the similarity score. The next item, I don't know if you have this in your Lopes-Wright report, but it always gives me this. This is the quoted text percentage in your document. We call that the originality score. What that indicates, anytime this is over 20%, it indicates a tendency toward relying on the sources for your argument, which means your voice starts being diminished. Anytime it's over 30%, it requires a revision. What that means is you've got too many quotes. You're letting the quote from the source be your argument, and so you're not making your own argument. Your voice is being lost, your ideas, your thoughts, they're being lost. So there do need to be some corrections there. And unfortunately, I do have to ask you to revise it, to get this percentage down around 20%, which means you'll need to either eliminate some quotes, or instead of quoting the source, just summarize the source using your own words, but still give the source credit for the original idea. Another problem that I'm noticing at the very first here, as I'm reading through your document, let me see if I can pull up some items here. So right off the very bat, this first sentence, the relationship of should be Missio Dei to global church planting takes me back to the Adam and Eve's commission committed at first during. That's very awkward. During what? You've got original sin, in quote, in parentheses. Parentheses are inserted in a sentence to indicate this is not primary material, so you don't normally read it. This is, for example, a reference to a scripture text or a clarification idea that is secondary to the reading experience itself. And so this first sentence is very awkward. You don't really have a thesis here. There's no real introduction. So I would encourage you to read back through the document before you resubmit it. Do two things. Carefully edit the document, provide an introduction with a thesis statement. I would encourage you to look at the thesis statement as being an indication that your document's going to discuss leadership and church planting. You're going to look at scripture texts for church planting, and you're going to relate Missio Dei to those two items. And then if you provide a thesis statement to that regard and then follow that up with developing a document that corresponds to those three items, then you'll be on track to have a good paper. But you've got to get those quoted percentages down, okay? I'm going to send you a quick message on this in the individual form.